Hello everyone and welcome back to Unity of Command. This is the campaign scenario second Kharkov from the base game, from the Axis campaign. This is the next one chronologically after the Black Turn DLC. And this is a very easy one. As you can see, it grants you 300 victory points or points if you win it with a brilliant victory and without spending prestige on it, which is fewer than any of the scenarios in the Black Turn DLC. It's a small one. It's very easy. In fact, what you're going to see is just me randomly jumping into the scenario without knowing it, and yeah, so it's not going to be very clean because I was very tired and I just wanted to familiarize myself with the scenario, and it turns out that I won it on my first try. But in any case, it's a very easy one. You can restart it really quickly, so you shouldn't have any problems, but for completion's sake we're including all of them. So let's see. Second Kharkov. May the 17th, 1942. A misjudged Soviet offensive at Kharkov strikes right into the teeth of the main Axis force assembling there for the summer campaign. Following a brief scare, Germans recognize the opportunity and move in for the kill. Right. You can immediately see that the numbers are fairly even. The Soviets don't receive reinforcements. We receive a few steps, infantry steps. We also have heavy air support. The Soviets also have some air support, and they have partisans as well, but it's not going to suffice for them. And as I said, it's a very small map, so that's this is all of it practically. Let's take a look at it real quick. The terrain is a bit weird, but once again, this is a it's very easy to complete anyway, so it doesn't matter. You don't need to familiarize yourself much with this one. So we have 3 objectives to hit. The first one is Olkhovatka, Operation Wilhelm. Jump off position for Case Blue, to be taken by the end of turn 4 here in the north. Then just below that, to the south, is Kupiansk, Operation Frederikus der Zweite. Jump off position for Case Blue, and in the south we have Izium, command and supply center for the Soviet offensive towards Kharkov. Right. So then the 2 ones in the north need to be taken by the end of turn 4, and the one in the south needs to be taken by the end of turn 5. As you can see, this is extremely easy. Let's take a look first at the terrain. So we don't need to cross this river here, the Oskol river. I hope I'm saying it right. So we don't need to cross this. Everything is between these 2 rivers. So all the battle practically needs to take place between these 2 rivers. And we have a bridgehead here, but the Soviets have 2 bridgeheads in the south, a big one and one in the middle. The idea is very simple. Just keep at least one of your supply routes here, punch through here, and capture everything. Basically, that's it. You don't need to worry about the units in the south. Now, the funny part about this scenario is that the Soviets are actually already kind of out of supply. They have 2 supply sources. One in the south that sits on the road, but the road is not, you know, we have taken control, or we have control of some parts of it. So their units in the extreme west are kind of cut off already. They also have another supply source in the north that is supplying their 2 victory hexes. In reality, if you just manage to just push a bit ahead, then you can very easily starve everything out, except for maybe the victory hexes themselves. And our supply situation is also very interesting. So all the roads that enter the map here in the west and the north have a supply source with a range of 2, which means that we cannot really get cut off unless they capture Kharkov, which is extremely difficult for the Soviets to do. However, our main supply source is from the south with a range of 10, and the AI really likes to cut you off from this one. So we are going to see we have a lot of battles in the south, which are kind of pointless. and again, that's not how you should play it. So we duke it out in the south, and eventually I win. But again, this is not really what you should be doing. What you should be striving for is to propel forward and cut the road off here somewhere, and then basically this whole operation just collapses practically. But as I was saying, I was playing it in an extremely unoptimal way. Let's take a look at our forces. So we have 4 panzer divisions. Some of them are veteran, the ones in the north. The others are standard, but they will gain experience very, very quickly. And otherwise, we have a bunch of infantry, both in the north and the south. We have 1 Hungarian infantry division and 3 Romanians, as usual in the south. As usual, they are pretty useless. And the new thing about this, the base game compared to the Blackturn DLC, is that the Soviet tank divisions or tank corps units are actually pretty formidable. If you recall, in the Blackturn DLC, the stats were 2+2, so 2 attack, 2 defense, which means they equal their cavalry corps or their standard infantry actually. But now they have 4 attack and 3 defense skills respectively, which makes them equal to our standard infantry divisions. And we're gonna see that, especially once they get like guards units, which are different unit types here in the main game, they can be quite formidable. They're still nowhere as good as our panzer divisions, so with an attack of 10 and a defense of 5, but you know, they're at least something, and you cannot just, you know, strike at them with your infantry and expect them to just crumble. So normally what you want to do is to push on through here, capture the road behind Izium and hold it, and then everything will collapse. But what I did was just practically a bunch of random clicking. Oh, and another thing is that a few of the units, the Soviet units, are already half out of supplies. So if you manage to do this quickly, what I was talking about, then you actually can get them to remain out of supply and deal with them even more easily. My idea was, as I've said already, I wasn't thinking hard about this, but my idea was to connect this southern road to the north so that we have ample supply. So that was my priority and not the assault itself. And yeah, it's just practically just random clicking. This unit is far weaker than the other 2, that's why I attacked them. And our best tank unit has 7 active steps, is veteran, and is superior to absolutely anything that the AI has. So I'm also trying to push here because I realized that this is a good opportunity, you know, getting closer to the objectives. That makes sense. You want to make sure that you get resupplied, otherwise this unit will get weaker and weaker all the time. We could corner this unit, and now the Romanians can finish it off. It's not a dangerous one because you can cut it off and then it will get cornered eventually. Now my idea was to also push along the river here. This is not a good idea, so don't do that. And it doesn't work. It won't work out, as you will see in a moment. Here I'm trying to remove this unit because I figured that it's easier to do it now that it's on our side of the river and it didn't have full supplies, and I guess it kind of worked out. So these units are weaker, you know, they're already kind of out of supply, so it makes them more vulnerable. And after a bit of reshuffling, I'm just trying to make sure that our supply line holds. This, as I've said, unless they capture the city, they don't really stand a chance of cutting us off completely. And yeah, don't do this. This is not a really good idea. What I try to do is kind of cut them off from here as well, from supply. And yes, it technically works, but you will stretch yourself too thin. And yeah, I wasn't using my bombers yet at all, and I just realized I have 3 attack runs. So the only thing left to do is try to dislodge this one to create a shorter supply route for ourselves, and you know, to get a better front line. It didn't work out, as you could see. So this, I don't recommend this. What I recommend is that you either hold the line or just cut it off like here, you know, withdraw until here, and then try to hold your supply route while pushing to the north, and also try to be a bit more aggressive while pushing to the east. This is fine, so this is acceptable, but it's not nothing major. And the AI, as I've said, loves to cut you off from the south. That actually is not a big problem. It's only a problem for the units in the south, which are all in full supply, or well, most of them, I guess. Um, and as you could see already, a lot of these units have been cut off, including these ones as well. So if you can just hold, and that's not going to be difficult to hold them from receiving resupply, then you can very easily starve them out very quickly. Just try to hold the road itself, because that was an issue for me. And again, that's also another thing. The Soviets are capable, so don't stretch your front line too thin. At this point, I thought I lost the game, but I didn't care. It's a really short one, and as I said, I was really tired. I was just trying to, you know, click my way through it. And yeah, at this moment, we have cut them off completely. So their supply has to come from the east, and through this river, across this river, so it's not going to reach anywhere. So all of these units that already have been out of supply have a little exclamation marks next to them. They won't be able to attack at all next turn, and you know, they're gonna get progressively weaker. And actually, for some reason, I thought that this was the first objective to be captured, Izium, when it's the last one. So you can see how well I was playing this game. And I realized that I want to remove this unit so that we can connect our supply from the north. This is not like nothing brilliant. What I mean is that that way it doesn't matter that the AI cut us off from the south. And it's quite costly, as I've said, the Soviet tank units are quite strong, to be honest. And now I feel secure because this whole line is connected. I don't care that the AI is happily sitting on it. Actually, you can trick the AI into making suboptimal decisions if you kind of allure it into cutting you off from your best supply source. As long as you remain in supply, the AI will happily send a strong unit there to sit there and starve out eventually even. So so that's a strategy we are going to use actually in later scenarios. And yeah, I just want to secure our front line. And it works out. We have a front line here. It's not very strong, but whatever. And yeah, this unit also seems. I already I know this unit is forsaken, so I already know that this is going to die in the next turn. But it did a good job. It cleared out 2 weakened, depleted Soviet infantry units. And we receive our reinforcements. Of course, I spend it on the units, on the infantry units in the front. And since the AI is not going to move out of the victory hex, I realized that this is the strongest unit they have in the vicinity. So I bomb it 3 times. I still have the infantry units to attack, and with a successful attack, this unit is practically dead. And now it is totally dead. So it's absolutely discarded. And now it's the Soviets' turn. As you can see, these units are unable to attack. These are practically the best units. The ones in the south still have 1 turn left where they can act, and they will. But that's fine. We still haven't fully cut them off. I mean, the victory hex is in supply, or both victory, or all 3 victory hexes rather. But their situation is looking very grim indeed. So, and we still have 2 turns to win. 2 turns to capture these 2 northern objectives, and another further 3rd turn to capture the southern ones. The AI recognizes it and tries to bunch up in front of the more urgent victory hexes. As you can see, it cut us off again, but this unit is going to get progressively weaker, and the next turn, or after its next turn, it can be easily, you know, just removed from the map. Alright, so at the beginning of our turn, this is our only unit, and surprisingly it survived. That is out of supply, and sorry, these are the 2 units. So the point is that it cutting us off didn't really do anything at all. So everything else is in supply, so it's all good. And now I realized that this moment that we actually need to go towards the north. We need to capture this one as well in the next turn. So, we change direction deftly, and let's see how that works out. This unit is by far the most dangerous in all of the northern sector. This one is cut off, so theoretically it is stronger, but it is also in a worse position. So after removing that veteran cavalry division or cavalry corps unit, I turn my attention to the south. I know that the AI won't be able to attack the next turn with anything, so I don't care for losses much, because yeah, we're gonna be practically invulnerable as long as we can hold the supply route, and we can. It's not going to be a problem. And at this moment we also cut off this poor unit, so it's of course it's going to be able to act the next turn, but you know, it's not going to be dangerous. Why the reason I did that is that I wanted to threaten from the north. The AI gets really spooked about these movements. This unit should not be a real asset, but but the AI will understand it as an offensive, so it will act accordingly. Yeah, so at this moment we have won basically, and even attacking across the river works fine. And I start to whittle away at the victory hex, because it's not very well held, to be perfectly honest. So now at this moment it has a special step for gun and 2 passive steps, suppressed steps. I could have sent this tank division to the north, but there was not much point to it, because it would have taken a long time to get there, and I figured that it can wreak more havoc in the south. And now this unit is fully out of supply. This unit cannot attack, this unit cannot attack, this unit cannot attack. So basically here in the south, I know the AI seems that the Soviets seem like that they still have some units left, but in reality they don't really. So this unit is very weak. The other 2 are on the other side of the river, and don't forget there are 2 rivers here, so they would have to kind of force or cross the bridge or force a crossing, and nothing else is a threat. In the north they're very weak. Their only decent unit is cut off on the other side of the river, and yeah, this one is not going to stop our panzer, so for sure. So that's not, we're not in any danger. Now the AI moved to the north, so it would cut us off from our supply, but it's not going to work out. We actually have the supply source, so our supply is 10 here. So if it managed to cut us off here again, that would have affected us, but it's not going to do that. So basically that was also pointless. Now it uses the Red Air Force, and it's pretty effective. We lose 2 active steps from this infantry unit, and the Hungarians get destroyed, but you know, that's not really important. And actually the AI loses 2 active steps to suppression, so I think it was a fair trade, 2 steps for 2 steps. Our unit was far less valuable than practically the best Soviet unit currently on the battlefield. And yeah, so at this moment we need to capture this victory hex on this turn, so let's do that. We move a motorized division to the front, so that we can remove this unit from existence. It works like a charm. Our strongest panzer division veteran 7 steps overruns this unit and becomes elite. And now at this moment, now that we have captured it, I know this one is empty, but I have a whole bunch of infantry units that I can bunch up in front of the victory axe. So this one Soviet infantry division is not going to reconquer it in all its lonesome. And in the south they have lost as well. This is the unit defending their victory hex, so 2 active steps plus a gun. So let's unleash the Luftwaffe on it. And it's not going, yeah, it's already suppressed. I just really quickly clicked 3 times on it to see if it works out. 1 bombing run would have sufficed, and we won. I was quite surprised at how easy it was. And if I wanted to, none of these units have moved yet. I could have easily, very easily, removed all of these units, at least in the south. I don't think I would have been able to remove the units in the north, but that's fine. Or at least all of them. Probably I could have removed this one. So the T-34 would have survived, for sure. So anyway, we actually still had a whole other turn to win this. So if I just stayed out of the victory X, removed everything here, and then the next turn I could have turned the map completely clean, but I didn't want to wait. So I was kind of shocked at how easy it was, and the only key here, as you saw, was to cut them off here, and then their whole offensive crumbles in the south. It's very, very easy to do. Just keep your northern or supply line intact. That's coming from Kharkov. That's the only objective you have, and in a few turns you can just push them off the map. Nothing can stand up to this tank unit at all, not even by a mile. So with your spearhead, just advance. And in the south you also have quite useful units that you can deploy to the the most critical front sectors. You can do much better than this, especially in the south. So it's actually relatively easy to protect this supply line. Not that it's important that much, and you don't need to assault that much. You just push ahead, cut them off, and then just wait until they run dry and remove them from the map. But other than that, that's it. They don't stand a chance of cutting you off. They don't stand a chance at all overall. So you will very soon start to outnumber them, and you will always have the better units. So it's really a pushover. All right. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.